It's not the feet. My veins start to liquefy. My body feels it petrified. Oh, the chaos has its place. The spinning takes its place. My mind begins to race. Recognize my face. Tugging by myself. I don't need no help. The chaos takes its place. Recognize my face.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kristen Manners, and this is another edition of Targeted. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. I'm joined by my co-host V, and we have a very, very important guest here today. And I'm so thrilled that she finally was able to join us. And I want to thank her immensely for her patience. We have today Christine with us. She is an extremely important guest, and the reason being is because we have discussed many times the element of the psychiatric community within the targeted individual community in general. And Christine has a very important story when it comes to that particular topic, and that is why Christine is joining us today. And I want to welcome her. Thank you very much, Christine, for joining us.
You're welcome.
Thank you again for your patience. Can you tell us a little bit about your story and give us a little bit of a background about what has happened to you? Thank you again.
Absolutely. All right. Right now, I'm just very happy. I was 1 year, 2 months in a hospital, 10 months in what was called an extended acute care facility. So I've just got my freedom after a year, so I'm still celebrating that. But if we want to go all the way back to the beginning of this, I had a mental health history after an assault when I was younger. I was in my 20s, and it wasn't anything real bad. It was just like anxiety, depression. I watched my father die. I had a mother who was somewhat abusive, so I had somewhat a psych history. But it didn't get bad till I tried to escape the system. They call it a Hotel California. Once you get in, there's no way out.
Make a side note here that the reason why this is so important is because we have said over and over on this show and amongst ourselves that the psychiatric hospitals are now the new jail system for targeted individuals. That is how they are attempting to incarcerate us, is via the mental hospitals. They did the same thing to me. So that's why this is so important.
Someone entered your house, someone took your phone, someone stole from you, someone has a key and is entering your apartment unauthorized. You're schizophrenic.
Absolutely. So
and we all know this is what COINTELPRO operatives, federal agents do nonstop, especially to plant evidence and to do any of the other things that they do illegally, unconstitutionally. So, yeah.
So go. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Christine. It's just so important what you're saying. I mean, and you
I have a book. I wrote a 350-page book about this, which has actually been hacked off my computer, stolen. I'm making a go of it now. I'm hoping to get the book published within the next 6 months. But I'm a journalist. I'm a thinking person. I don't buy into all their shit. They don't like me because I was always a smartass in the mental hospitals, and I always complained and asserted my rights. Because of that, I got a reputation as a troublemaker, but that's good. We need to make trouble. 2006 was the very start of my targeting, when I was put into a mental ward, and when I came home, I noticed all my files were gone through, papers rifled through, things out of place in my apartment, paperwork just strewn everywhere. I didn't know who to call about this. Who do you call when your home's invaded? Normally, if society worked right, you would call the police and you'd make a police report. The hell if you do that. So I did. I went the normal routes for a little bit. In total, over the years, I must have about 16 or 17 police reports. And this time, I was trying to get them to investigate, not really realizing police officers are a crapshoot. Some are assholes. Some are the perps. Some aren't. You don't know who you're going to get.
You're exactly right.
Right, and it's a big chance to take to call the police when the police know you're a person with a mental health record. That is scary, and they know. They're reported. It's done. All the police officers in the area I used to live now know me as someone who causes trouble. I got charged with harassing the police.
Now, this is something that is very common to hear about in the psychiatric community. There are videos on YouTube. I know there's this one Asian guy who's saying, I called the police, 68 or however many times. The number was large. And the police department's filing charges against me and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I would love to know if anything actually was investigated from his complaints. I can tell you that there weren't anything, but it was just a matter of he called the police based on this premise, so then he is now crazy. Now, this is the social engineering. This is the police state in which, think of it if this were Nazi Germany. What if a Jew called the police and said some skinheads kicked in my windows?
Yeah. Well, I can show you a piece of paper from my... I can show you a piece of paper from my personal situation alone in 2015. I had to call the police 70 times because I'm not going to give up. I was not going to stop calling them because of the disturbances at my house. I was not going to giving them a call. I was not going to stop trying to get them to investigate what was happening at my home. And finally, they set me up at a mental health facility in County.
Yeah, you told me
to a facility.
Same thing for me. I was stalked in 3 different counties. I was made homeless. They say that what they're trying to do to us is get us institutionalized, jailed, or homeless in any way to make sure that we don't speak up and we don't have a voice. And this is supposed to be America, right? I'm a journalist. Who, what, why, where, when. That's my job to speak up. Hello. So my targeting in 2006, I know that my targeting is from within the psychiatric community. My perps are usually people that are poor, lowlifes, living in a bad area of town. I think they get paid $20, $30. Here, go into her house and take her phone. So I've had maybe over the past 3 years running from my abuser who had a PFA on in the perps. I had about 9 cell phones stolen from me. You guys wonder why I keep calling you from different numbers and why you haven't been able to hook up with me. Well, I had to go to Canada to be safe. And that's what I did. At least out of my city of Pittsburgh. Pennsylvania has some very strict mental health laws. I have been told many times to relocate, to leave Pennsylvania. And
well, I can tell you that you have been in contact with us since 2015. And Anthony, I've been speaking to you off and on over the phone for at least 3 years.
They interfere, all kinds of interference. If you're homeless, it's very hard to get organized enough to be on a talk show.
Yeah. Well, Christine and I have been speaking for about a year. I was attempting to help Christine get some help while she was in and trying to give her all kinds of methods or suggestions to try to get out. And she was having just a horrible time trying to get out of that facility. So the communication between all of us has been, you know, intense, just trying to get her some sort of assistance. And I am so incredibly happy that you have finally made it out. What do you think prompted the targeting initially? What do you think it was?
2006, I was on a prescription, a very powerful drug called Seroquel. And I was, it was during the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, and a tree fell through the roof of my apartment. And I was on Seroquel, and because I was so on this, it's a tranquilizer, it's a neuroleptic, very bad for you. And because I was on that, I couldn't react. I couldn't scream. I couldn't call the police. I couldn't call a neighbor and say, holy shit, a tree fell through my roof. It could have killed me. I'm upset. Someone help me. My reaction times were all off on that medication. I'm very against psych drugs. I think they should only be used short term to get you over a problem. And then when the problem's over, they should be discontinued. I kept, my mother put me into a psych ward then, Division of Mercy, and I was so terrified I didn't say anything, but they forced me to take more Seroquel. Came home, and I came home to another apartment. My stuff was all unorganized. I didn't have a cell phone. I started getting anxiety attacks. They told me, keep taking Seroquel. They had me taking it morning, noon, and night, and I had a drug reaction to it. I couldn't find anything, very disorganized. Then I got locked out of my apartment. I was in the hallway. I had like all this stuff with me, and I was in a psychiatric drug overdose and reaction. And
well, that much Seroquel, that's a lot.
And I wanted to sue Mercy Hospital for making me take that because it made me a mess. Anyhow.
When it comes to Seroquel, I can tell you, I know somebody who had the highest record dosage in the state of Texas for Seroquel, 900 milligrams of
I was on
Seroquel,
1,600.
900 milligrams daily on top of 2 Ambiens. This person's mind was so incredibly lit, incredibly genius, but they wanted to shut him down. This person was taking these dosages of this medication, and found his head in his keyboard, oftentimes because nonstop on the computers, nonstop gamers, nonstop researchers just found head in the computer just to wake up and do it all over again. Now, 900 milligrams on top of double dosage of Ambien is enough to take out a horse.
I was on 1,600 milligrams of Seroquel. Morning,
How many?
1,600.
Wow.
Morning, noon, and night. And they were telling me I had to take this. I tried to discontinue it. I started throwing up and passing out. In that state of throwing up and passing out, I started a fire with a cigarette. It was in the hallway. I was passed out in the hallway. I'd just been sick all day, throwing up. And long story short, with this fire I started, which I incidentally tried to put it out. When I woke up and saw flames, I put my hand through glass and got a fire extinguisher trying to put it out. Long story short, they kept me locked up until I was coerced into saying I was guilty of arson.
Wow.
And that's the thing. I've heard
No
the
lawyer,
stories
no
of
jury trial, no appeal.
I've heard stories of people just on lithium, sitting in their lazy boy, in their chairs with a cigarette, passed out, Next thing you know, they're dead because their whole apartment's
I've had many friends die. The people that I've met in psych wards, I've watched a lot of them die. I just watched my friend Pat die. He was on neuroleptics. He had that thing with his mouth where he was going like this.
Dyskinesia.
Yeah, and he was losing control of his bladder. Brilliant guy. He was a medical salesman. They put him on that and they turned him into a retard. That's not politically correct of me.
Yeah, well, he got worm tongue.
Hey, artards. Sorry, that's it's just a reference. But anyways, but no, you're absolutely right. And the thing is about it, these drug companies, anyone can say what they want about the tech firms. Anyone can say anything they want about big oil. Big pharma is number one around the globe. Whether it's pumping your foods full of crap, pumping you full of crap, pumping your water full of crap, pumping the air full of crap. Big pharma is number one. And I guess I got to go ahead and give a shout out to Alex Wallen right now because his wife on Zoloft and Klonopin tried committing suicide. He tried stopping her from committing suicide. This with a gun. She put a gun up to her jaw. Tried committing suicide. And the thing is about these drugs, they're not antidepressants. Well, in a sense, they are. But as far as things when it comes to suicide and stuff like that, instead of I feel terrible, I feel horrible, maybe I should take myself out, this is all painful. When you get on these antidepressants, stuff like that, it goes to, oh, well, I'm a piece of crap. Maybe I should kill myself. I feel good about that.
You know, the killers, the Columbine killers, so many accidents that we hear about today are from people on psych drugs. It has a warning. May cause suicidal tendencies, but I don't know a whole lot of people who actually take it to court and win, and that's a shame. A lady Ann Blake Tracy does a lot of work with it, and I've done a lot of speaking up and complaining and saying, wait a minute, if I'm on 1,600 milligrams of Seroquel and I'm throwing up and passing out, how can I be convicted of a crime that's with intention? There can be, what I was saying and I was trying to do from inside a mental hospital was to say this doctor who prescribed this and this company that prescribed this should be liable.
Yes.
I was doing what they said.
Well, exactly. That is the thing, though, because the reason why I brought up my friend Alex, there's a gun charge. Well, not a gun charge, but there's a gun involved in the crime. There's drugs involved in the crime that were prescribed by the medical industry. And so he's actually being crucified right now to take a domestic violence charge because he wrestled the gun away from her.
Oh my God!
And yes. So to cover up the fact that this was being used, or the fact of the situation is that there are drugs involved, and it's a gun thing. They want to rack up gun stats because it's Wisconsin, and they want to take away the blame from the drug company. He's being crucified. They will not drop the charge for anything. His wife has come on his wife has called the lawyers and said, everything Alex said was correct. I tried killing myself. It's not his fault. They still will not drop the charge. The state does not want these stats.
That is ridiculous.
That's a shame. That's a shame.
Okay. So, but going on with what you just said, you are being held liable even though you were told to be put on to these drugs, which are known to mess with consciousness. These are mind-controlled drugs. And if, in fact, I think you should take it the other direction. If you're on mind-controlled drugs, drugs that are there to curb or control your behavior, the arson charge should go to the drug companies. Don't you think?
They're to create a subclass of people. They create a subclass of people who have nothing going on in their life but to sit around the house on disability, taking these pills, watching TV, and eating. And these people often become our gang stalkers.
Or the victims. These people meet an early death.
I came close to it. Three times I almost died.
I'm with you. Me as well. I mean, I have what is wrong with me now as a result of what they did to me at my residence is a direct result of the assaults that I sustained at my residence. And it's just a horrible, horrible thing that they have the right to come in and do this to individuals.
Right.
And to alter their life completely forever and ever and ever. Without
once you have a mental health record, you are an easy target. And anyone can say, people have been in my house, they steal the same 3 things every time: prescription drugs, glasses, cell phones.
This is a completely disorientating situation because you get some other drugs, or they can plant some other drugs. You can't see what your drugs are. You take the wrong drugs, your phone's not there, you can't call the police, you're dead.
Yeah.
That's right.
There are psychological operations and covert operations are my specialty. I'm telling you, people need to think about these things when they happen to you. You got to think about these things. Now, with you saying that, I still cannot stress the fact that you, against your will, drugged up, something happens while you're drugged up, you're charged, and you further become more, I guess I would say, a sinkhole in the system.
And I was being held in a mental hospital all this time. So I couldn't go out and get me a lawyer. I couldn't go talk to anyone. I was being controlled. I tried to call from the mental hospital trying to find a lawyer. I was dating one of the public defenders at the time. So they said, oh, we can't give you a public defender. That's a conflict of interest. So they gave me this court-appointed guy. He didn't show up 3 times. I'm in a mental hospital. I basically was told, either you plead guilty to arson or you spend 10 more months in a mental hospital. So there we go.
Wow.
Wow.
I mean, anyone can look at this TV show here. We can see we have a wonderful person, adult, fully capable, mentally capable.
Yeah, exactly.
Does this person need to be in a mental institution? You were in there for over 10 months. I
was there for poverty. I was institutionalized for poverty. That's what I had, a group of lawyers called the Community Justice Project that basically came up. I was in there for the fear. We're humans. We're normal. If someone makes an attempt on your life, you're going to get scared. If someone's stealing all your stuff, you're going to be anxious. Those are normal human emotions. If you have no way to...
Write a book. I want you... Okay. People, judge this for yourself. If... You know, just nobody can just be in a mental ward. It's just crazy. I've seen people that need to be in mental wards. We've talked about them on the show, Kristen.
Yes.
Yes, we shouldn't be in the mental ward. But there are people, you're not going to put out a book. You're not going to get published by anybody. You're not going to, if you're just so out of whack enough to be in a mental ward for a year. You have a book. I want you to talk about it.
Oh, the book is called Meant to Live, and it is, it's about 400 pages. I'm a poet and an artist, so it's got stories, and then after each story, it has poetry, and it has a lot of a journalistic ending, because I'm a journalist too. It has a journalistic ending about facts and the figures about the chaos in the mental health system, different doctors' opinions. More, I was a yoga teacher, and I'm into vitamins and natural healing. So it has a lot of what vitamins these pharmaceutical drugs deplete the body of, and ways to heal that don't involve doctors.
Very good. It's good information.
This has become my life's mission to create a world where we don't have to be afraid, and where there's safety in numbers, and where we can connect, because there's nothing that keeps you disconnected like psychiatry.
Absolutely.
Well, I do know that, you know, in the most of the scenarios and interviews that I've done in the past, whether it's something from, you know, whistleblowing to
I did that.
Being beaten by police, to find out you have cancer and your health care doesn't want to treat it, so the next doctor you go to sends you to a nut ward saying that you're crazy. The mental ward is not society's waste bin. It's not. Listen to me, feds. Listen, I know you're watching right now. Listen to me. The mental ward will no longer be your private jails where you cover up crimes.
I would rather.
It's not going to happen anymore.
When the arson came, I said I would rather have you put me in jail. I said I want to go to right. I could either have spent 8 more months in a mental hospital or go to a trial, and I didn't spend any jail time for that. I had a good lawyer for the sentencing. But I mean, the goal of the gang stalking is to get you homeless, jailed, or institutionalized. I've been all 3. I'm a yoga teacher. I know natural healing. I know how to do certain things to get through being on that mental ward without losing your mind.
Yes. Yeah, and I was the same way. I mean, when you were telling your story about, you know, how you acted when you were in, it sounded exactly like me. I was the exact same way, because I was not going to tolerate their behavior and what they were trying to do to me. I was not going to do it. And
Right.
I have to commend you for doing the same thing, because if it wasn't for people like you, we wouldn't have any foundation, you know, at which to fight. You know, to fight this.
I keep trying to get people to speak up that are in there with me that are having the same complaints, but everyone is either afraid of retaliation or they just want to get on with their life and get the fuck out of there. And I'm like, yeah, but you had that experience, and you owe it to the other people that are behind you to at least file a complaint. You know, at least call SAMHSA. I don't know what it's called there, but in my state it's called Office of Substance Abuse and Mental Health. Call them. There was a very abusive worker. If everybody would report him, he would be fired. But people don't want to speak up.
And Christine, I can't thank you enough for being on our show today and taking the time.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Story. And we're gonna stay in contact with you, and we're going to continue to bring people the information about this problem, about the psychiatric community. And thank you again for joining us. I really cannot thank you enough.
Okay, yeah, I'd love to be on again. There's a lot more we could talk about, so there's plenty to talk
Absolutely.
about.
Absolutely.
This has been another edition of Targeted. My name is Kristen Manners, and I want to thank you very much for joining us. Thank you.